Hello everyone. Today's tour is on the exhibition Poets of Physics featuring the works of Aki Sasamoto, Bagus Pandega, David Medalla, Fischli and Weiss, and Ian Carlo Jaucian. Poets of Physics examines how these artists extend the radical idea of art machines that engage natural forces while probing their potential for transcendence. Rather than treating scientific phenomena as subjects to illustrate, these artists collaborate with them to generate new experiences and ways of understanding. In doing so, the exhibition suggests that wonder in itself is a form of knowledge, and that meaningful insight arises when art and science meet in a shared spirit of poetic discovery. On your right is The Indecisive Things by Bagus Pandega. It is a series of wall assemblages on Pandega's musings on the future and its unpredictable, uncertain, unknown, and random nature. Whatever materials Pandega had, he utilized without putting too much autonomy over them. An image was printed over a board and multiple gallerists collaborated to spray paint on it. The three components, an artificial flower, a growing light, and computer fan, mimics the natural world, almost like how a flower seeks sunlight for food and wind for pollination. There is a sense of artificial hope. The LED running text that codes gibberish instead of text or numbers. Bagus deliberately used defective ones, reinforcing the idea of false hope. He focused on the phenomenon of chance, encounters, and changes. Bagus knew the objects and process that it took to make the piece without expecting too much of the outcome. Next is The Cloud Canyons by David Medalla, which is our main attraction. Did you know, in 1964, David Medalla presented the first iconic bubble machine, an autocreative work he called Cloud Canyons, which continuously generates foam or bubbles to produce ever-changing sculptural forms that exist only temporarily before dissolving and reforming. While the material is low-tech, the work marks a shift in technique and manifests Medalla's belief in the inventive turn in sculpture as vital. On the Hidden Labors of Rest and Matters Concerning Stillness, Mobile Robots by Ian Carlo Jaucian. This ongoing project uses mobile robots to explore stillness as a relativistic defiant state. The robots are all programmed to sense the planet's magnetic north, and through this, they can constantly move west at all times, which is functionally equivalent to trying to stay still against the Earth's rotation around its axis. The first still robot is built like a compass. It recognizes north and south, then it recalibrates and moves west. The second still robot, with a pendulum, does constant trigonometry so that it can spin its three wheels at the right velocity to move against the Earth's rotation no matter its orientation space. On to the next artwork, The Social Sink Microcosm by Aki Sasamoto. Aki's fascination with meteorology greatly influenced her work. Sasamoto makes use of snail shells and feathers inside kitchen sinks. Sasamoto was fascinated about the phenomenon that most snail shells spiral clockwise, and some rare specimens coil anti-clockwise. For Sasamoto, these counterclockwise snail shells became symbolic of lefties, eccentricity, and difference. Mysterious and playful at once, the objects in motion prompt analogies and analysis that extend beyond the unexpected universe in the commercial kitchen setting. De Ouf de Dinge, The Way Things Go 1987 by Peter Fischli and David Weiss documents a 31-minute continuous shot of a chain reaction of everyday objects. Filmed in a warehouse, the film features mundane objects and industrial materials such as tires, trash bags, ladders, soap, oil drums, old shoes, water, and gasoline. They used everyday objects because they believed it was imbued with an unexpected quality. The mundane objects are planned in an orderly manner, and yet it still leads to chaos and teetering collapse. It is also filmed in a lateral tracking shot to maintain the illusion of a single, uninterrupted take. The artists used seamless edits and added audio effects in post-production, such as explosions, fire crackling, water, bubbles, rolling, and inflating. Fischli and Weiss's work pays a forensic attention to detail, a sense of illusion and transformation, and the dynamic exchange between states of order and chaos. On the Hidden Labors of Rest and Matters Concerning Stillness, Mobile Robots by Ian Carlo Jaucian, also known as The Ball Bot. This is a prototype before his previous still robots that we saw earlier. However, instead of heading west, the ball-bot actuates a sphere where the machine balances itself on. To avoid sensor values drifting, the inverted pendulum tunes its accelerometer and gyroscopic sensors to its perception of magnetic north, making the act of balance a planetary function. The use of magnetic field data can later be reintroduced as a controlled drift to a preferred direction. Next to the ball-bot is a reading corner, wherein we encourage our visitors and guests to sit and read the books available. Then we have Point Reflection by Aki Sasamoto. It is an extension of her previous artwork that we saw earlier, the social sync microcosm, but this time she investigates chirality through video and performance. A perforated plexiglass sheet covers the basins and an HVAC system forces air through, setting snail shells, bottle caps, sponges, and sugar packets moving, spinning, and jostling each other. In the video, the snail shells operate as characters, a metaphor, a body that can be otherwise that coils against the norm. Sasamoto treats the snail shells through both storytelling and identification, and analytically to extract data and theorize structures of difference. The title refers to a geometric condition where a point is mirrored across an axis, serving as a metaphor for decision-making and moments when a person decides to go the other way. Sasamoto is known for works that act as an experimental system of improvisation and repetition. Deus equals X by Ian Carlo Jaucian. The phrase Deus ex machina means ghost in the machine or God in the machine, commonly ascribed to robotic sentience and programming syntax. The apparatus itself is a Ouija board, a spiritual tool used to communicate with supernatural entities, which is mounted on a Stewart platform. This platform elements uses a modified version of roboticist Aid Musa's resistive touchscreen design to affect the movement of a steel ball rolling on top of it. Deus equals X quite literally represents the ghost in the machine. Still Life by Ian Carlo Jaucian reimagines the traditional art historical genre of still life through the lens of robotics and scientific phenomena. The piece reflects Ian's interest in the Anthropocene and scientific theories, specifically how coded information translates into physical movement. A flashlight is mounted on a mobile apparatus that is connected to a live, publicity-available weather data of its current geolocation. The flashlight moves according to the wind speed information of its geolocation, in this case, the city of Manila. The shadows cast by the objects against the moving light source is an effect of wind not observed in the local environment, but virtually present in a digital realm shared globally. We then have a rhythmic devotion by Bagus Pandega. A mandaleong is played via the energy drawn from plant life. The unsure and plaintive tone of the sound is eked out as if from an old-fashioned phonograph. The piece uses a MIDI musical instrument digital interface sprout to convert biodata electrical impulses from a monstera plant into MIDI signals. These signals then trigger a sequence of sounds, light patterns on the LED panel, and physical movements via solenoids and motors. The original plant for the artwork is a Genjer plant, which unfortunately is not locally found. Therefore, in replacement, a monstera plant was used. The video and sound is from Penumpasan Pengkhianatan G30S PKI 1984, which is a documentary on propaganda of movement Indonesian Community Party. Moving on, we have a pervasive rhythm by Bagus Pandega. The flickering lights consist of 450 light bulbs sourced from motorcycle turn signals. It connects to 4 Bose surround speakers, 3 solar panels, and a synthesizer. The small light bulbs blink light onto the solar panels. They then send signals to the synthesizer, which then produce a solar distortion sound through the speakers. The image created by the flickering lights is a floating eye. It changes from the Indonesian to the Japanese eye. According to Pandega, a conversation with his Japanese wife inspired the artwork. His wife expressed how Japan's economy is dying. Pandega responded by saying Indonesia consumes the majority of Japan's motorcycles. If anything, Japan's economy is thriving. Therefore, the floating eye represents their different perspectives. The entire experience is supposed to represent being surrounded by multiple motorcycles and traffic. Let us now proceed to the second floor. On your right is the viral Automata MK2 by Ian Carlo Jaucian. This robot swarm installation proposes a virus that is in harmony with its host and environment. There are two types of bots, the white and the red bots. There are two permanent red bots that transfer the virus. However, once the virus transfers, the white bots turn red, showcasing they have been affected. This is temporary before they turn back to their normal state as white. The bots are dictated by code mimicking biological movements of viruses. In addition, the work was not inspired by COVID, since this was made in the year 2017. Another work by Ian Carlo Jaucian on rigor in science, which is a visual representation of still life to make it tangible. The parts include a screen at the bottom facing upward, and the glass with discs that act like filters. Looking through these small discs give an illusion of staring at stars and constellations. The screen is connected to Stellarium, an open-source star map that displays real-time celestial position data below the Earth, the juxtaposition of looking down instead of looking up towards a night sky. Cloud canyons by David Medalla are similar to the ones at the ground floor. The only difference is the scale and number of pillars. The Cloud Canyon earlier has 6 pillars, whilst this one has 5. It is also slightly smaller in terms of size. The Cloud Canyons were created in 1964, however these models were reassembled in 2016 and this one in particular in 2019. We have come to the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed the tour and gained much knowledge of the artists and their works. Thank you for watching and we hope to see you here at MCAD.